made me cry.
That's my whole...
My heart. You heard her scream,
Yes.
right? The she in here, like I said. I told you she the in here. You heard her scream. Y'all heard her scream, right?
Yes.
It sounded like she in the bottle.
Oh my God. Let me see if they heard it on the other side.
I heard a scream.
Because it made my whole heart stop.
Girl, that's why I've got tears coming out my fucking eyes right now.
October 5th, 2025, 11:39 p.m. Surveillance cameras at Aubrey Recreation Center capture a gold Toyota Camry entering the parking lot. The lot sits adjacent to Ada Lewis Middle School, a building abandoned for over a decade. 2 people exit the vehicle. A third drives away. They stand in the darkness, waiting. 1 hour passes, then 2, then 3. At 3:56 a.m., they move toward a black Hyundai Accent. The car has been parked in this exact spot since October 4th. Over 30 hours, they open it. Together they lift something from inside. The weight is visible in their movements. They carry it toward the woods behind the school. Kada Scott's phone went silent at 10:24 p.m. on October 4th. By the time that sun rose on October 6th, she had been missing for 48 hours. Her family was searching. Her friends were praying. The community was desperate for answers. But what happened in the 20 minutes between 10:15 p.m. and 10:35 p.m. on that Friday night would take investigators 18 days to uncover. Welcome to Viral Crime Psychology. To my loyal subscribers, I pray your families remain safe and protected wherever they are in the world. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. On this channel, we bring you the complete details of true crime cases, the facts others overlook, the evidence that deserves examination, and the truth that demands to be heard. Today, we're examining what happened to Kada Scott, a 23-year-old woman from Philadelphia who sent a text message at 10:07 a.m. that investigators still cannot fully explain. A case where the timeline of her final hours has been documented down to the minute, and a crime that surveillance footage proves involved at least 3 people, yet only one has been charged with murder. September 2025. Kada Scott stands in front of a mirror, holding up a bridesmaid dress. She's smiling. The kind of smile that comes from genuine happiness, from being chosen by someone who matters to you. Her friend Priya was getting married. Priya, who she met at Penn State University. They'd stayed close after graduation, the way real friends do. And when Priya got engaged, Kada was one of the first people she asked to stand beside her on the biggest day of her life. Chief bridesmaid. Kada was 23 years old, a Penn State graduate building a life in Philadelphia on her own terms. She worked at Terrace at Chestnut Hill, an assisted living facility where she cared for elderly residents. But that wasn't all she was doing. She was also running a beauty business, building a brand, creating content on social media, showing her ambition to anyone who followed her. This wasn't someone coasting through life. This was someone with plans. Her family was tight-knit. Her mother, her father, a younger sister still in high school, the kind of family that notices when something is wrong, the kind that files a missing person report the moment their daughter stops answering her phone. October 3rd, 2025, Thursday evening. Kada went to Topgolf. She was on a date, living her normal 23-year-old life, enjoying herself, making plans for the weekend ahead. Within 24 hours, everything would change. Keon King was 21 years old in October 2025, but his record with law enforcement was already established. Earlier that same year, King had been arrested. The charges: kidnapping and assault of a woman. Not a minor incident, not a misunderstanding. Kidnapping, a federal offense that carries years in prison. The case moved forward. A court date was set. King posted $200,000 in bail and walked out. Then the trial date arrived. The victim didn't show up. The witness didn't show up. Without their testimony, the prosecution had no case. The charges were dismissed. King remained free. This is the first failure, the first moment where the system let someone walk who should have been behind bars. Because here's what investigators would later discover about Keon King. He operated with a pattern. He used multiple nicknames. Kel was one of them. He cycled through phone numbers, informing people when he had a new one. He had access to vehicles that didn't belong to him. On October 3, 2025, just before midnight, King stole a black 2008 Hyundai Accent. The car belonged to a food delivery worker who had left it running on the 6600 block of Sprague Street. King took it. Investigators would later state they believe he stole that car specifically for what he was planning to do the next night. His connection to Kada Scott remains unclear in the public record. Authorities have said there's no indication of a previous incident between them, no police reports, no restraining orders, no documented history. But the text messages tell a different story. They knew each other well enough to text throughout the day, well enough for Kada to recognize his nickname, well enough for her to make plans to meet him at night, well enough for her to send those 3 words, "Kidnap me again." What that phrase meant, investigators still cannot definitively say, but what they do know is this. By 10:07 a.m. on October 4th, Kada Scott and Keon King were making plans to see each other that night, and by 10:24 p.m., Kada Scott would be dead. October 4th, 2025, 10:07 a.m. Kada Scott picks up her phone and types a message to a number linked to Keon King. "Kidnap me again." King responds, "Better be up too." They're making plans to meet later that night. Court documents obtained by investigators show that throughout October 4th, King called Kada 12 times, 12 separate phone calls over the course of the day. At some point during these communications, King informed Kada he had a new number. She asked who it was. He replied with one word, "Kel," a nickname, one she apparently recognized. The text exchanges continued, back and forth, coordinating, confirming. But it's that first message that has left investigators, prosecutors, and the public searching for answers. "Kidnap me again." 3 words that suggest history. That suggests something happened before. Authorities have stated publicly that they have no record of any previous incident between Kada Scott and Keon King. No police reports filed, no complaints, no documented encounters. So what did she mean? Was this playful language between 2 people who knew each other? Some kind of inside reference that made sense to them but sounds alarming to everyone else? Was it code for something? A way of speaking that had meaning only they understood? Or was it literal? Had King done something to her before that she never reported? Was she trapped in something she couldn't escape? Investigators have not been able to definitively answer this question. The context remains unknown. The meaning remains unclear. What is clear is that Kada Scott willingly made plans to meet Keon King on the night of October 4th, and that by the end of that night, she would be dead. October 4th was a work day for Kada Scott. She spent her shift at Terrace at Chestnut Hill, the assisted living facility in Philadelphia where she cared for elderly residents. It was a normal day, nothing unusual, nothing that stood out to her co-workers as concerning. Until 10:00 p.m., a co-worker was leaving the building when she saw Kada outside. She was on her phone, and she was upset. The co-worker could hear Kada's side of the conversation. "I can't believe you're calling me about this." Then an expletive. Kada was frustrated, angry, arguing with whoever was on the other end of that call. The co-worker didn't stay to hear the rest, but that conversation is now a critical piece of the timeline. Because shortly after that phone call ended, Kada Scott would leave the premises, and she would never be seen alive again. Investigators have Kada's phone records. They know who called her at 10 p.m. But they have not released that information publicly. They have not confirmed whether it was Keon King she was arguing with or someone else entirely. If it was someone else, that means Kada was already in an emotional state when King arrived. Distracted, vulnerable, upset about something unrelated to what was about to happen. If it was King, the question becomes, why did she still meet him? What was said that made her get in his car despite being angry? 10:09 p.m. Kada sends her final text message. "CM when you hear." Investigators confirmed that CM stands for "Call Me." Call me when you hear. Call me when you arrive. She was waiting for someone. Witnesses reported seeing Kada get into a dark-colored SUV outside the assisted living facility shortly after 10:00 p.m. The vehicle drove off immediately, 10:15 p.m. Cell phone location data shows that Kada Scott's phone and Keon King's phone are pinging off the same tower. They're together, near her workplace. The clock is now ticking. Kada Scott has 20 minutes left to live. Between 10:15 p.m. and 10:24 p.m., something happens inside that vehicle, something that ends with Kada Scott being shot in the head. At 10:24 p.m., her phone goes dark. No more calls, no more texts, no more location pings. Kada Scott is gone, and Keon King still has work to do. 10:24 p.m. October 4th, 2025. Kada Scott's phone stops transmitting. No final call to her family, no text to a friend, no emergency dial to 911, just silence. Law enforcement sources would later confirm what happened in those 9 minutes between 10:15 p.m. and 10:24 p.m. Kada Scott was shot in the head. The Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office conducted an autopsy on her remains. Their determination: gunshot wound to the head. Cause of death: homicide. Investigators estimate she died within 20 to 30 minutes of going missing, which means from the moment she got into that vehicle with Keon King to the moment her life ended, less than half an hour. What happened inside that stolen black Hyundai Accent? There were no witnesses. No one heard gunshots. No one saw a struggle. No calls for help were made. No opportunity to escape. Just Kada, King, and whatever happened between them in those final minutes. 10:28 p.m. 4 minutes after Kada's phone went dark, surveillance cameras at Aubrey Recreation Center capture footage of the black Hyundai Accent entering the parking lot. The lot sits directly adjacent to Ada Lewis Middle School, a building that has been abandoned for over 10 years. Cell phone tracking data obtained by investigators shows that after parking the Hyundai at Aubrey Recreation Center, Keon King's phone begins traveling. The phone pings at 5500 Belmar Terrace in southwest Philadelphia, a house. Police would later execute a search warrant at that address. 2 women lived there. Inside, investigators found contractor bags, a hammer, ammunition, items that could be used in exactly the kind of crime Kada Scott's body would show evidence of. The 2 women were detained, questioned, then released. No charges have been filed against them. But here's what the cell phone data reveals. King's phone didn't just ping at that house once, it traveled back and forth. Multiple trips between Belmar Terrace and the area near Aubrey Recreation Center. Back and forth, back and forth. What was he doing during those trips? Was he getting supplies? Was he coordinating with the women at the house? Was he planning the next phase? The Hyundai with Kada's body inside sits untouched in that parking lot for over 36 hours. Then, on October 5th at 11:39 p.m., surveillance cameras capture new movement. A gold Toyota Camry enters the parking lot. Multiple people are inside the vehicle. It pulls up near the area. 2 individuals exit. A third person, the driver, doesn't get out. The driver leaves, takes the Camry and drives away. The 2 people who got out stay. They stand in the parking lot, waiting. It's late, nearly midnight. The area is empty, dark, no one around. But they don't move yet. They wait for 1 hour, then 2, then 3, then 4. At 3:56 a.m., with the area completely deserted, they approach the black Hyundai Accent. Surveillance footage captures what happens next. They open the vehicle. Together, they reach inside and lift something out. Court documents describe it as a heavy object consistent with a human body. The weight is visible in how they move, how they position themselves, how they carry it. They walk toward the wooded area behind Ada Lewis Middle School. The trees provide cover. The abandoned building provides concealment. No lights, no cameras back there, no witnesses. They dig, not deep, just enough, a shallow grave. They place Kada Scott's body in the ground and cover it. Then they return to the Hyundai. The car starts. It drives out of the parking lot. By sunrise on October 6th, the black Hyundai Accent is gone from Aubrey Recreation Center, and Kada Scott has been buried in a place where no one thinks to look. But Keon King has one more task to complete. October 7th, 2025. 3 days after Kada disappeared, Philadelphia police respond to a vehicle fire. The black Hyundai Accent, the stolen car, the crime scene, the evidence, is burning, intentionally set on fire to destroy forensic evidence, fingerprints, DNA, anything that could tie King to what happened inside that vehicle. The car is later compacted at a junkyard, but the fire doesn't erase everything. And the accomplices captured on surveillance footage, they're still out there. October 4th, 2025. Late evening, Kada Scott's family realizes she's not responding to calls, not answering texts, not checking in. For Kada, this is unusual. This is wrong. They file a missing person report immediately. By October 5th, the community knows. Social media posts begin circulating. Kada's photo, her description, the last known sighting. Friends share the information. Strangers share the information. The post spreads across Philadelphia. Search parties form. Volunteers comb through neighborhoods. They check parks, alleys, anywhere someone might be. Vigils are held. Candles are lit. Prayers are spoken. Her friend Priya stands among the crowd, hoping for a different outcome than the one everyone fears. Days pass. October 8th, October 9th, October 10th. No Kada. Search teams continue looking. The family continues pleading for information. The community continues sharing her face. But there are no credible leads, no sightings, no breakthroughs. Then, an anonymous call comes into the Philadelphia Police Department. The caller is specific, precise. Go back to Ada Lewis Middle School. They missed her. A location is given. Exact coordinates. The wooded area behind the abandoned school building. Investigators had already searched the recreation center parking lot. They'd canvassed the area, but they hadn't gone deep enough into the woods. October 18th, 2025. 2 weeks after Kada Scott vanished, officers return to Ada Lewis Middle School. This time, they go into the trees, into the brush, into the places people don't walk. They find disturbed earth. They dig. Kada Scott's remains are recovered from a shallow grave. After 14 days of searching, of hoping, of praying for a different outcome, the worst is confirmed. Kada Scott is dead. The Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office takes custody of the remains.
Absolutely.
DNA testing is conducted to confirm identity. It's Kada Scott.
He's responsible.
Cause of death, gunshot wound to the head.
Keon King.
Manner of death, homicide. Now the investigation shifts.
Justice.
This is no longer a missing person case. This is murder.
They're not going to play with this
Detectives
guy anymore.
begin
This guy's
pulling
going
every
to,
piece of evidence they can find.
SCI
Cell phone
Phoenix.
records, all of
He's
them.
going to Camp
Kada's
Hill.
phone,
He's going
Keon
to state
King's
prison
phone.
for the rest of his life.
Every number that contacted either of them on October 4th. The data maps a timeline down to the minute. It shows Kada and King's phones together at 10:15 p.m. near her workplace. It shows Kada's phone going offline at 10:24 p.m. It shows King's phone traveling to Belmar Terrace multiple times over the next 36 hours. Surveillance footage is collected from every camera in the area, Aubrey Recreation Center, nearby businesses, traffic cameras, residential security systems. The footage reveals the gold Toyota Camry arriving at 11:39 p.m. on October 5th. It shows 2 people exiting while a third drives away. It captures those 2 individuals waiting for 4 hours before approaching the Hyundai. It records them removing something heavy and carrying it toward the woods. Multiple people. Coordinated effort. Premeditated actions. Text messages between Kada and King are recovered from phone company servers. The evidence shows this wasn't random. This was planned. Investigators execute a search warrant at 5500 Belmar Terrace, the house where King's phone kept pinging. Inside, they find contractor bags, the kind used for heavy-duty cleanup, a hammer, ammunition. 2 women live at this address. Officers detain them, bring them in for questioning. The women are interrogated, then released. No charges filed, not yet, but investigators make it clear they are not cleared. The investigation is ongoing. October 22, 2025, 18 days after Kada Scott was killed.
In Philadelphia.
The Philadelphia District Attorney.
He's currently facing several felony charges, including kidnapping for ransom,
King is
false imprisonment,
with abuse of corpse,
criminal use of a
arson,
communication
robbery,
facility,
theft,
stalking,
conspiracy,
and
tampering with
recklessly
evidence,
endangering another
causing or
person.
risking catastrophe.
So when you piece all of this together, it starts to paint a clear picture. This isn't someone new to trouble with the law. His past behavior lines up with a pattern of dangerous and manipulative actions. To the public, it felt like progress.
But here's the question
But the most important
Philadelphia is asking: where are the accomplice charges? The surveillance footage clearly shows at least 2 other people moving Kada's body. The cell phone data proves King went to a house where 2 women lived multiple times. The search of that house produced evidence consistent with this crime. So why haven't they been charged? Philadelphia Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel addresses this directly at a community town hall. We continue to pursue anyone who helped, who concealed, who participated in this act. We will not stop. The investigation is active, ongoing. They're building cases against everyone involved, but as of now, Keon King is the only person facing murder charges, and the community wants to know, who else was there that night? Who helped him move her body? Who knew what he did and said nothing? Justice for Kada Scott means holding everyone accountable, not just the person who pulled the trigger, but everyone who helped him cover it up. October 23, 2025. True Light Fellowship Church in Eastmount area is packed. Standing room only. The Philadelphia city government has called a community safety town hall. Mayor Sherelle Parker is there. Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel is there. City council members are there. But this isn't a PR event. This is a reckoning. Residents come with anger, with grief, with questions that demand answers. Mayor Parker opens by setting a boundary. Out of respect for Kada Scott's family, she will not discuss specific details of the investigation or the cause of death during this meeting. But what she does promise is action, changes, accountability. Commissioner Bethel speaks next. His voice carries the weight of the past 3 weeks. Recovering Kada's body was not the outcome we hoped for, but we are grateful we were able to bring her home. Then he says something that matters. The greatest asset for us in this investigation was you, the community, the tips, the searches, the people who wouldn't stop looking. But gratitude isn't enough for the people in this room. A resident stands up, points toward the neighborhood. Ada Lewis Middle School has been abandoned for over 10 years. That building is a danger. It's where someone was able to hide a body for 2 weeks. Why is it still standing? City Council member Cindy Bass has already sent a letter to the School District of Philadelphia demanding the building be demolished. She calls it a hazard, a reminder of tragedy, an eyesore that serves no purpose except to provide cover for crime. The school district releases a statement saying they are reviewing protocols for the former school. The crowd isn't satisfied with reviews. They want the building gone. 3 weeks after Kada Scott was killed, Keon King sits in custody facing murder charges. But the full truth of what happened on October 4th remains incomplete. Surveillance footage captured 2 people moving Kada's body at 3:56 a.m. on October 5th. Who were they? The gold Toyota Camry that dropped them off. Someone drove that car away. A third person who was involved but hasn't been identified. Who are they? The house at 5500 Belmar Terrace. 2 women live there. Keon King's phone pinged at that location repeatedly in the hours after Kada was killed. Police found contractor bags, a hammer, and ammunition inside. The women were detained, questioned, and released. What did they know? What role did they play? Are charges coming for them? Kada's co-worker saw her outside at 10:05 p.m. on a heated phone call. "I can't believe you're calling me about this." She was upset, frustrated, arguing with someone. Who was on that call? Was it King? Was it someone else? Police have the phone records, but haven't released that information. What was the true nature of Kada's relationship with Keon King? Were they involved romantically? Was this a casual connection? Authorities say there's no record of a previous incident between them. So how did they know each other well enough for her to text him throughout the day, to recognize his nickname, to make plans to meet him late at night? And the message that haunts everyone who's followed this case: kidnap me again. What did Kada mean when she sent those 3 words? Was it playful language between 2 people, an inside joke, code for something else? Or was it literal? Had King done something to her before that she never reported? Was she trapped in something she couldn't escape from? Investigators have not answered this question. They may never be able to. The only 2 people who knew what those words meant were Kada Scott and Keon King. And Kada can't tell her side of the story anymore. How many people were involved in total? The person who stole the car, King himself, the 2 people who moved the body, the driver of the Toyota, the 2 women at the Belmar house. That's at least 6 people who either participated directly or knew what happened and helped conceal it. 6 people. 1 murder charge. The community is waiting for the rest, waiting for everyone who played a role in Kada Scott's death to be held accountable. Because justice isn't complete until everyone who helped take her life, or helped cover it up, answers for what they did. Kada Scott was 23 years old. She graduated from Penn State. She worked caring for elderly residents. She ran a beauty business. She had a family that loved her, friends who cherished her, a future that should have been long and full. Instead, she's gone, and the people responsible are still being identified. The investigation continues. November 2025. Kada Scott should be getting ready for a wedding right now. She should be standing in front of a mirror adjusting that bridesmaid dress one final time, laughing with Priya, taking photos, celebrating a day about love and commitment in the future. Instead, her family is preparing for something else entirely. And in 20 minutes, it was all taken away. Because Keon King, a man with a documented history of violence against women, a man who had already been arrested for kidnapping and assault, a man who should have been behind bars, was walking free. The system failed in March 2025 when his previous case was dismissed, and Kada Scott paid the price for that failure in October. King now faces murder charges, 19 criminal counts in total. He's being held on $500,000 bail. But the accomplices, the people captured on surveillance footage moving her body, the person who drove away in that Toyota Camry, the individuals whose house contained evidence tied to this crime, they're still out there. The investigation remains active. Philadelphia police have made it clear they will not stop until everyone involved is identified and charged. This community refuses to let Kada Scott become just another statistic, just another name, just another case that gets forgotten when the news cycle moves on. At the memorial outside Ada Lewis Middle School, flowers continue to arrive, balloons, candles, notes from people who knew her and people who never met her but feel her loss. One community leader called her Forever Miss Philadelphia. That's who she was. That's who she'll remain. But questions still linger. What did kidnap me again mean? Was it innocent language between 2 people that sounded sinister only in hindsight? Or was it a warning sign that no one caught in time? If you have theories, share them in the comments below. And if you know anything at all, about what happened to Kada Scott on October 4th, 2025, the Philadelphia Police Department needs to hear from you. Even the smallest detail could be the piece that brings justice for her family. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Next week, we're examining another case where the system failed to protect someone who needed it most. Remember Kada Scott. Honor her memory by demanding better. Forever Miss Philadelphia.